What's up, guys? It's Jim with OPTCG, bringing you guys another locals video this week. And this week, you guys actually ended up voting for a leader I have been playing an extensive amount in EB. So was very excited to bring it to locals for this video today. And that leader is going to be Iceburg himself, the GOAT from OP03. Finally getting the support he deserves in EB. And I think is going to be the strongest this deck has ever been for sure. This leader is a lot of fun, first and foremost. Not being able to attack with leader is obviously a big detriment, but obviously playing these new 5 costs out that got added in the EB set is going to be really strong, and he got a lot of new support that's going to make this leader actually work. So we're going to go ahead and go over the deck list and then get right into our matches. So first up here, Iceberg, obviously a leader that is locked to the Water 7/Galley Law type. We're going to be running the Kokoro Searcher for sure. We're actually only running 2, as now in this deck, we have so much draw power and recursion that you actually don't need this card as much. It is nice if you need to find a very specific card, but I found myself not needing it as much lately, so I put it down to 1. But still obviously a really good card, your best play on 1. Best way to find stage, all that good stuff. Next up here, speaking of stage, we have our Galley Law Company. If you guys don't know what this card does, it is pretty much just the Onigashima stage, so ramping you every single turn. Going to counteract our leader effect, which is really nice. But only running 3 of because they do brick a lot. Also, I have found myself not really needing this card a lot. 5-drop Kid is really good and is definitely a very good counterpart to this card. And better in a lot of situations as well. But obviously, if I can, I do want to see this early. It is just not 100% necessary. Now let's get into our targets off of leader effect. First up here, probably the most generic is going to be Tilestone. Is just a 6k power character that is going to ramp us on KO. So probably the main target I'm playing early if I have it. Other cards like Polly or Khalifa require setup. So you can't really play them out early off leader. So this is one of the only targets that you really like playing. Next one being Rob Lucci. The other one I would definitely play early in the game. Really strong card in a lot of matchups. Resting a 5 cost is a big deal. There's a lot of 5 cost blockers in a lot of decks that really do matter. And allowing us to rest characters and then swing into board is also just really good. So I think it's just a no-brainer 4 of. This card is fantastic. Next up here, we have Polly. Polly is really strong in this deck as well. I'd say a little bit weaker than the rest, though. As you can see, we are only running 3. It does not have counter, unfortunately, which is, never nice. But its power cannot be understated. Just the ability to actually have KO in this deck is really strong, as well as that 4 cost stat line is really good. Especially against decks like RP Law, Sakazuki. There's just a lot of decks that have 4 costs that just make this card really good. It also will ramp us. And we're usually on 10 next turn, which is going to be very strong. So like this card a lot and really appreciate it in this deck list. Just don't want to draw too many. And next up here, probably the most important card that made this deck playable in EB. It is going to be the new 5 cost Khalifa. This card is insane. 5 cost, 5k, that's playable off leader effect. That is going to grab you 2 4 or less characters from the trash. 2. So this is play off leader effect and draw 2. These can be 2 that we want to replay. This can be 2 2Ks, which honestly it usually is. It could be another Kokoro if you want to research something. This card is what's going to keep us alive and online, as Iceberg's main issue, way back in OP03 until now, has been that he has ran really low on cards in hand. Since you cannot attack with leader and your characters are your only source of dealing damage to your opponent, if your opponent just, repeatedly removed board or attacked into board and starved you of your hand, you just run into a situation where you have no attackers and no cards in hand, and there's just no way to win at that point. Khalifa is going to make the train never stop, and is probably my favorite target off leader effect to see in the late game. Now let's go ahead and get into our 4 costs that are grabbable off of Khalifa. First up here, we have our only searchable 2K. It's going to be another Khalifa, the 2K back from OP03. This card is really good, and a really good card that I actually like to play out a lot of the time. Against decks that can't remove stuff, this card can go crazy. Just constantly drawing 2, trashing 1, you know, is a fantastic effect. You're going to see it in a few games that I play today. This card puts in a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, usually just uses a 2K, but we can also play it out off of leader effect as well, which is very nice. Next up here, we have another new card introduced in EB that is going to make this deck a lot better. It is 4 of Bluno. Bluno is very good. It is actually not playable off of leader effect. Leader can only play Galley Law type cards. Bluno is only Water 7, so it is searchable off Kokoro, but you cannot play it off lead. It would be a little busted if you could play it off lead, but what you can do is you can grab it off of Khalifa. You can also play this card into any of these 5 costs here. So if they got rid of Khalifa and are running low on cards at hand, you can play out Bluno, grab a Khalifa, grab 2 cards, rinse and repeat, recycle. They can pretty much continually grab each other. It's like a infinite combo for sure, which is going to make this deck never ever lose characters on board. Really, really good card and really needed for this deck as well. The ability to play stuff from trash instead of hand is very nice. Next up here, let's get into our 2Ks. So we have Hitori Kamazo and we have 2 of Miss Doublefinger. So not gonna lie, these cards are entirely because they are 4-cost 2Ks. Kamazo's effect is like slightly playable if we were running like maybe against a Law or a Zoro, something with really low costed stuff. So every time we use leader effect, we can KO. But honestly, I never really ran into that situation. So I pretty much only run it as a 2K that is re-grabbable off Khalifa. And Miss Doublefinger, same thing really. The trigger doesn't really come in handy because honestly, I always have a full board. So I don't really need to ever play that off trigger. Next up here, we have a 4 of 4-cost Reiju. This card is nuts in this deck as well. We are less Dawn than our opponent a lot. And as I was saying before, this deck, issue with cards in hand, boom, we have another cure for that. Reiju going to draw us 2 on play. You know, you follow it up with another Khalifa, draw another 2. The cycle is infinite in this deck. You can even grab Reiju off of Khalifa. So leader effect, Khalifa, grab Reiju, Reiju, draw 2. Like, you know, this it never really ends. You're going to keep developing board. You're going to keep developing hand, which is why you'll see me say a lot of times in the games this video that the way to beat this deck, you pretty much just have to ignore board. A lot of decks really can't afford to do that, and those are the matchups you'll be best against, but the ones that can are really rough for Iceburg. So, but yeah, Reiju, great card. Now let's get into our blockers. First up here, we have 5-cost Kid. Kid, as I was talking about before, absolute no-brainer in this deck. We have so many Dawn minus effects. I think almost every character on the board here has a Dawn minus effect. So this card just makes total sense. Getting 1 Dawn back active and allowing us to play cards we wouldn't have been able to play, or just you know, replenishing that Dawn that we got rid of to have us have more Dawn on our next turn is really nice. Also one of the only blockers, so if, you know, we're zero life, we need a blocker, you know, Kid will come in handy. And next up here, our last blocker of the deck is going to be 4 of 5-cost Queen. Everybody knows how good this card is by now. 5 Dawn, 6K, blocker, cycle. Not really much to talk about, honestly. Definitely one of my favorite cards to play in the mid game or the late game, just to kind of bunker up, find the cards we need to see, you know, prepare for next turn. Really like this card and love it in this deck. Next up here, we have 2 of 9-cost Kaido. This is our only large character in this entire deck. So decks like Black Yellow Luffy, decks that buff themselves really high and we cannot swing into, this will be one of the best cards to see. Unfortunately, in that matchup specifically, they do play the Sabos, which means this does not usually KO anything. But this is good in the matchups that say we'll play like an 8-cost Kid, like Uta. and we need to have a big body to swing into it, because in any scenario like that where we need to either swing at a 9k leader Luffy, we need to swing at an 8 cost kid, we kind of struggle with that, since as you can see, all of our bodies are low. So even if we had 10 Dawn, we have to attach, 3 to this guy, 3 to this guy, 3 to this guy. That's our whole turn. And even then, we're only swinging, 1k over. That is our kryptonite at the for sure. So very much needed card here. But definitely one of the cards I trash a lot, as it is not good into a few matchups. And last but not least here, we have 2 of Conqueror of 3000 Worlds, Ragnarok. This card is a bit of an interesting one. I actually added this one the most recently because I was running into a lot of Uta matchups that were playing 8 cost kids, and I really just could not do anything about it. So this is pretty much a complete tech card for 8 cost kid. You have so much cycle that you'll be able to find this very frequently when you need it, at least. In the other matchups, you can cycle it out if you don't need it. Really good card, also really good against 8 cost Moria. Love getting that target, as you can do this. Even if you didn't have much Dawn, you can still play stuff off leader effect to get bodies on board. So really good card, and that is going to be the deck list, guys. Had a lot of fun this week. Not gonna lie, did not do great. You'll see in the games today, we did not get the best matchups in the world, but I could have made a few mistakes. I'm no expert at this deck by any means. But I do find it a lot of fun, and I think I did a lot of fun combos, and you guys are going to see the power of this deck. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into our first game. And getting into our first match here, we're going to be going against Black and Yellow Luffy, a matchup that honestly is not great for Iceburg, I'm not going to lie. You don't develop a lot of large bodies. I'd say, your biggest body besides Kaido, as you guys saw on the deck list, is only 6k. So Luffy making himself a 9k makes it really hard to deal with, because even if we have 3 6ks on board, we have to go 3 Dawn, 3 Dawn. We can only swing, 9k, 9k, which is not enough. This is a really rough matchup, guys, I'm not going to lie. But we're going to do what we can. So he's going to play Garp for 1 and grab a 2 cost Monkey D. Luffy. Probably one of the best targets you can find right now. So we'll go Iceberg effect on turn 1, playing out a 5 cost Lucci, which I would argue is the best card in this matchup. Just the ability to being able to rest Sabo and go for game at the end of the game is what makes this card just really good in this matchup. So we're going to try to keep it on board at all costs. As we take the 5k swing into another 5k swing, we'll give him the 1k counter Bluno. And now on my 3 Dawn turn, we do not have stage, which is completely fine. I made this deck so it's not very reliant on stage. And we're actually just going to pass, since we do want to play Kid next turn, so we do not want to Dawn minus right now. So he'll go 5k lead, we'll give him a Reiju 1k, and he'll go ahead and play the 5 cost Sabo, cycling and finding what he needs here. And he's going to go ahead and trash those 2 cards, and it'll be back on us for 5 Dawn. And as I was stating prior, we're going to be playing the 5 cost Kid and using leader effect afterward. Playing out the 5 cost Khalifa, and now since we have 2 4 costs in trash, we're going to grab them right back to hand and get another one back active with Kid effect. And going to use that Dawn probably on Rob Lucci here to swing 7, or we may, just do that and leave it active. Not wanting to put Luffy down to his, his turns with leader effect, so we're going to make him take his life cards if he really wants to get there. So now on 7 Dawn for Black Yellow Luffy here, he's going to go ahead and spend 5 for another Sabo, making it really hard for us to push through here. Going to trash an ace and I think a Luffy I saw. He'll go 7k lead. We will choose to take that one, and he will pass back to us. So now I think we are on 6 Dawn this turn. A few decent plays for sure, but let's go ahead and see which one we decide to do. We're going to spend 5 for a Queen, put that Dawn back, drawing 2 and trashing 1. We do have the Ragnarok here, but we're actually going to choose to trash the Bluno instead, as we can get it back off of Khalifa. And then we're going to get a Dawn back active with Kid. We'll use that Dawn to play Kokoro, searching top 5, and it looks like we actually did not hit anything, unfortunately. That's actually pretty rare in this deck, so that was a really unlucky whiff. So we'll go ahead and go 6k at lead. He is obviously going to take that. And then we're actually going to go another 6k lead, and he's going to take that one as well. Now at this point, there's a very real scenario where he has 2 different cards to take those life and activate leader effect this turn. So definitely ready for that. But you know, if he wants to use all those cards out of hand to do that, I am completely fine with it as well. So he will go ahead and lay out his Dawn here. He has a 9 Dawn this turn, so there's definitely really not a world where you're playing Moria at the very least this turn. So he'll go ahead and spend 1 for a most likely Flampe. There it is, taking life and drawing 1. That card is very strong in this deck. And then he'll follow it up with a 6k swing to Khalifa. We're definitely going to take that, as we're just going to replay another character next turn. And then he'll follow it up with another Flampe, drawing 1 off of deck and life as well. And then immediately here going to trash Sabo while activating leader effect and putting an ace and a Sabo to the top of his life. And he'll probably be playing out both with the 2 drops. There is the ace first, bringing out the 7k rusher and buffing leader. He'll go 7k to lead. We do know a bigger attack is incoming, so we're actually going to counter out of this one. He actually swung into Lucci, so we actually did a double 1k out of that. And there's the Sabo buffing leader all the way up to 11k. Sorry, 11k for this turn, 9k for his turn. And then that Sabo going to put 2 more aces into trash. So he's completely stacked with aces, and he will attach another one, going 12 at Lucci. We will just block with Queen, clearing up our board and going to him. I'm going to say right now he should probably just be swinging at lead. I don't really think there's a reason to be concerned with my board. It's really hard for me to end the game with this deck. So if he just goes for lead, he puts me in a lot harder situation, because if I want to play characters, I actually have to replace them, you know, over existing characters, which is not good. But we're going to go ahead and play a Bluno into a Khalifa, bringing Khalifa out of trash and grabbing 2 4 costs on top of it. So that was a really strong play. Iceburg never really dying, and this is why you never really want to swing at board in this matchup, because I can just like that, boom, refill my hand and refill my board. So I'm going to go ahead and go 6k at the Sabo here. He's going to go ahead and probably decide to counter out of that if I had to guess. He already has 3 more Sabos, so yeah, he's actually just going to let it go. And now with 5 remaining Dawn, we have a few decent plays this turn. But we are going to have to cover up something with the character here, and that is going to be Queen, as we put 1 Dawn back and draw 2, and then we're going to trash 1. Thinking about it now, and I'm realizing the Ragnarok is really not going to be useful, since he's probably just off of Moria's replaying the 5-cost Sabo, so we won't be able to KO it anyway. So we're going to get rid of that card while we can and not choose the use leader effect, as we already have a full board, which again, if he was not swinging a board, would make these turns very awkward. We would pretty much just have to attach Dawn and go weak swings at lead. But he'll go ahead and use leader effect. Looks like he does not have the Moria, or he just had too many cards on the board to use one. So he'll bring out the Luffy here and go ahead and most likely try to swing with lead with ace first. He does have, I think that is 6 Dawn remaining. He's going to put 2 on ace, and he'll go ahead and swing 9 at Lucci. We'll give him double 2k here. Now playing a Garp over the Flampe. Searching the top 3, probably looking for a 2-cost ace or Sabo, and there is the ace, 2 hand. And he's going to go ahead and for 2 Dawn, go ahead and play out that Sabo. Pretty much a no-brainer here. Going to buff lead here and draw 2. Trashing 2 cards after the fact. Sabo just, you know, it makes it so you find everything you need. If you didn't have that card, this deck would not be good. It's pretty much Moria and Sabo that makes this deck go round. So he's going to go ahead and go a fat swing at Lucci, and we're just going to block with Queen. And it's going to go back on us. Now, I think we are on either 7 or 8 Dawn this turn. But we're going to go ahead and start swinging a board. We'll go 7k at ace. If we had to swing a lead, this would be a lot harder, since we do have to attach a lot of Dawn to do that. So he's going to think about that for a sec and choose to block with a Sabo, which is actually pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and go 7k at ace again. Just trying to whittle down cards in his hand at all costs. That's really our only way to win this matchup. We're going to go ahead and play Reiji with 5 cards in hand. We're going to choose to draw 2 here. And then we'll actually use leader effect, playing out most likely another Khalifa, which we do. Play out the Khalifa over the Khalifa, putting it in trash, doing down -1, and grabbing 2 4 costs from trash here. Into hand, I think that is a double 2k, so bringing the 2ks back, and then we'll choose to use kit effect, ramping 1 back, which allows us, if we wanted to no, we actually can't swing in anything, and that is the problem with this leader, unfortunately. We just don't have the bodies to really threaten him. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep swinging the lead and put him in a position where if he does not buff his leader, we can finally go for game. But looks like he's going to be able to keep doing that. So he'll swing 8k with Luffy, playing the Moria out after he uses leader effect. Double ace here, putting on the pressure. I think he's realized at this point that it is just not worth swinging a board. So he's going to go ahead and go 7 at lead. We'll go 2 and 1. Another 7 is probably going to bring out another 2 and 1. There it is, a 1 and a 2. 2 trash, and then he will go 11 at lead. We'll just block with kid, trying to preserve life at all costs at this point, and also trying to clear up space on board so I can actually play stuff. If I didn't block with that kid, I pretty much just have to attach Dawn and swing, which doesn't feel that great. But anyway, now we're going to attach 2 to Khalifa, go 7 at ace. He is going to be smart and choose to let both of those go, as we swing with the Reiju as well. But now we're going to go ahead and, what do we do? We're going to play a Khalifa off of leader effect, taking out a double 2k from trash once again. So complete recycle with this deck. Going to have really insane turns with that card. Khalifa definitely buffed Iceburg by a lot. And now choosing to do with this Dawn, we don't really have great stuff to do right now. So thinking about putting all the Dawn on here, we're going to swing... I think that is 11k with Lucci, so we're requiring either a blocker or a 2k and a 1k. And he's going to do the smart play here and choose the block. So now at this point, if he does not play another blocker out and he does not kill Lucci, I can swing for the fences next turn, which would be a decent option. But even then, he has a decent amount of cards in hand. So realistically... he can probably counter out my max swing, but we're probably going to have to go for it next turn anyway. So here comes leader effect once again, trashing a Flampe, which kind of should have told me that he had all 2k counters in hand, because I don't really think there's a scenario where you get rid of a 2k counter if you have better targets. But yeah, he'll go double ace off the Moria again. He'll swing 7 lead. He is putting the pressure on now. I'm going to think about this one and take, because I know what other swings are coming. We'll have to counter out of this other 7k going up to 8 here. He'll go 9 with Moria. We will choose to take because we do not want him to swing at Lucci. Swinging with Lucci and resting Sabo is our only winning condition right now, so we know we can protect it if he swings into it. And that is what we're playing for. So he's going to think about it for a sec here. But yeah, he's just going to go lead, which is the correct play. And we're going to go ahead and counter out of that. Now on him, now back on me, we have 9 Dawn, which means we can put 8 on Lucci, -1, and go 14k to a 9k lead, which means he needs triple 2k out of the 4 cards in hand after we rest Sabo. And let's see if he's got it. He's got 2k, 2k, and 2k. Yeah, and he's got it here, and I think his last one was a 2k as well. And getting into game 2 here, we're going to be going against red and yellow Sabo. So another one of the 3 brother starter decks. He's actually going to start it off with a Flampe, taking off his top life and drawing 1. I actually have not played against this deck too much. So definitely going to see how this matchup goes. I assume it's not great, but we're going to have to see. He'll go 6k lead as we give him a 2k. And he'll go ahead and play a Zoro onto board, swinging 5 and passing to us. So at this point, we are on 5 Dawn, and we just drew into the Galileo, unfortunately. We would have loved to play it last turn. But we're going to go ahead and play the kid this turn, doing leader effect and choosing what card to bring out here. We actually do have the Khalifa, and we do have 2 cards in trash to grab off of it, which is nice. As we go ahead and activate Kid Effect, getting 1 back active, but we do not have another 1-cost Kokoro to play off of it, so we are just going to go ahead and pass back to him. Not going to lie, pretty slow start from us, but we just did not have the cards to play early, unfortunately. Now on, I think this is 6 Dawn for him. He's going to go ahead and probably just start swinging big. He'll go ahead and go 2 on Zoro, swinging 7 at lead. That is just going to be a take as we go ahead and see him play another Zoro here, 1 on lead. He's going to go ahead and swing 6. So pretty clear what is coming this turn. Just asking about the leader effect here as I am pretty inexperienced against it, to be honest with you guys. He'll go ahead and go 6k lead as I give him a 2k, and then he'll go ahead and buff Zoro and put the other one to life, swinging another 7 that we take going down to 3. Now on 6 Dawn this turn once again. The issue with Sabo again here is he buffs his characters up to 7, which makes them really hard to swing at. So definitely going to make it really awkward for this deck, but we're going to go ahead and do what we can. Swing 5 lead as we play a Galley Law Company. Ramping 1 Dawn. We'll put that Dawn right back. Playing out a Rob Lucci and activating Kid effect. Now with 4 Dawn active, we're going to go ahead and play another Bluno here. Putting 1 Dawn back and playing out the 4-cost Khalifa. So pretty good turn there for us. I'm not going to lie. Getting a full board. With only 6 Dawn to play with, and it's going to be 6k, 5k, and another 4k. Still with a pretty decent amount of cards in hand, and this 4-cost Khalifa going to make it go up by a lot more. So now on 8 Dawn for our opponent. He'll go ahead and most likely play out another rush card, if I had to guess, putting Zoro back into life. And there it is, going to go 7k at leader, I think. Leader is the correct place to go as we go ahead and give him a 2k after we block with Kid. And then he'll go ahead and play another 3 Dawn for another Rush Zoro. That's probably the one he got from life again. He'll go 3 on lead, swing 8 at Kid. We will give him that, as we do honestly just want to clear up board space at this point. Then he'll go ahead and go 7, most likely at leader again, I'm pretty sure, which is completely correct. You want to just avoid swinging a board in this matchup. That is the way to win it, for sure. Now on, I think we're at 7 Dawn this turn, 6 or 7. We will ramp with Galley Law. As we spend 5 on a Queen, we're actually on 8 Dawn, putting 1 Dawn back, drawing 2. And just thinking about what to trash here, I have a lot of options at this point in time, so just going to take a second to, survey the board, figure out what we're going to play, and I think it's probably going to be a Tile Stone if I had to guess. And there it is, yeah, going to trash the Tile Stone with 3 Dawn remaining. And probably just going to attach those ones and attack into the Zoro, so we'll go 7k into Zoro, resting Flampe. He will give us a Neko as we sing 4 into the Flampe. Drawing 2 and trashing 1 off of Khalifa effect. So pretty good here as we're able to stay up in cards if he does not want to attack in the board. And then we'll go ahead and most likely attach these other 2, swing 7 into Zoro once again. There it is, onto the Khalifa, and 7 into Zoro. He's going to go ahead and give us a 2k counter with the Koala. So honestly, a really awkward matchup. We're going to go ahead and play another Lucci off of leader effect as we pass back to him. So, just the fact that he's not attacking our board is making this really difficult. Because, we should honestly maybe been swinging to lead this whole time. But if we do that, his board just gets way out of control and I just can't really deal with it. And he's only going to get more cards and triggers from that as well. So I honestly don't know how to play this matchup. Let me know if I'm playing this matchup wrong, guys, because this match did not go great for me, truthfully. So he'll go ahead and play 4 Dawn for a Kikunojo. And from there, he's actually going to attach 1 to lead. You only need 1 for a leader effect, so he is online now. And he will go ahead and swing 6 at leader. We're just going to give him a 2k for that, as he's going to go ahead and put 1 on Kikunojo just to go ahead and put it right back into life, buffing Zoro to 7 and swinging at Lucci. We'll give him that. As any board clear we can possibly get, we will definitely take. He'll play another Zoro right now, putting 1 Dawn on and swinging 6 at our Khalifa, I want to say. And from there, I think we're just going to block with Queen here. We could give him 2 cards on hand, but that is a bit too much for, how much I would actually want to give. So We're going to go ahead and let that happen, block with queen, and he'll pass back to us. So now we actually have a board that we can kind of swing into. There's a 5k Zoro, which is going to be pretty easy to either get cards out of his hand or take this guy off board. And with Kid in hand and Reiju in hand, I'm kind of just debating which one I'd rather do this turn. Makes it a little rough, honestly. But I think Kid might be the better play here. We're going to go ahead and just see what we get off of Khalifa. Swinging 5 at Zoro, and going to go ahead and draw 2, trashing the 9-drop Kaido, which, you know, maybe we should have kept. I think that would have been a decent card in this matchup. It's just a little too slow at this point in time. So we're going to go ahead and play the 5-cost Kid, do Iceburg effect, bringing out the 5-cost Khalifa, grabbing another double 2k into hand, and getting one back active with Kid. And then probably just going to attach both those to Lucci and swing 8 at that Zoro. So if he wants to give us a 2k, he can. Looks like he does have a few in hand. Let's see if he does. He'll give us the 2k Satori. We're going to go ahead and pass back to him. Now looking back, I guess I could have swung with Blue No, but obviously that would have put Kiku on the board for free, which we really don't want to do. So I think that was the right play. Just unfortunately not putting enough pressure on him. He's going to go ahead and grab the 5-cost Monkey D. Luffy Rush, which is a really good card in this deck because you can actually kind of put it into life and then bring it back out off of the 2-cost Luffy. So he's actually going to play that down for 5. And attaching 2, going unblockable to leader, 8k swing. So we do have a double 2k that we just grabbed to easily counter out of that one. So he'll go another 2 on the lead, swinging 7 into Lucci. We'll go ahead and give that to him as he puts Luffy back into life. And buff Zoro to 7, going big aggro here into either leader or Khalifa. But we go ahead and block with Kid and give him a 2k anyway. Now at this point, again, do not have that many good targets to swing into, so we'll probably just have to go to lead. We do have another Kid in hand, which is decent. We'll go 7 into Zoro as we draw 2 and trash 1. Trashing the Reiju here, as we're probably going to choose to use leader effect. What do we actually have to play on leader effect? I don't know if we have any great targets right now. So we'll go ahead and go 5k lead. If I was him, I'd probably just take... you have 5 life right now. You don't really have anything to be worried about. Go another 5 at lead. He's going to no brain play out that Kikunojo. Don't think there was much to think about there. He really isn't in a position where he's scared to die. He can just heal for free as well. So we're going to play that Reiju out, drawing 2 again, and then we'll choose to use leader effect, playing out another Khalifa over our other Khalifa, putting 1 down back, and going to probably grab 2 2Ks once again from trash. The amount of cycle and replayability of cards in this deck is always insane to me. Really fun to play as well, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, like I was saying, the way to beat this deck over and over again, like, he really shouldn't be attacking board. I think he's been attacking board a little too much. He should kind of just go to lead. And that makes all these turns a little awkward, for me at least. Just because these bodies, with his leader effect getting buffed, are really hard to attack into. So he'll go ahead and go 7k to lead, making us really work for this win here. We're going to go ahead and give him a 1k counter Kid and a 2k counter with the one we just picked up from trash. He's going to go ahead and put 2 on Sabo. And swing 8k at lead. And we'll choose to block with the Kid, clearing out board while we can right now. And then going to play out the 5-cost Monkey D. Luffy that he actually got from life last turn. Swinging 8k, no, sorry, that's 9k to lead. And we're going to choose to take, as we do have no blocker right now. And he will pass back to us once again. And at this point, I mean, we can't really swing into Luffy. He's a bit too big, so we're going to choose to start going into leader. Going to go 5k, and he's going to take out the Kikunojo for free. You can go another 5k, just putting the pressure on now. He'll give us a 1k Garp. As we're going to go ahead and play 5 for Queen, looking at the top, or grabbing the 2 cards from our deck and trashing 1. Going to trash that Blue No, as there's really no scenario where we're playing that from this point on. So we'll go ahead and use Iceburg effect, playing out a Poly, resting 2 and KOing that Kiku, and ramping 1. So we did heal him, but it is good to get a card off board here. So we'll go another 5k, activating Khalifa effect and trashing an extra Galley Lock Company. he will actually take that one with no trigger, thankfully. And we will attach our last 2 Dawn here, going 7k to lead, and he will take that one as well. So the Luffy is still on board. If we do not get rid of that and we go to 0, we pretty much lost. Like, we have a lot of cards in hand, but if he just attaches all Dawn to that thing and goes 16k, I mean, you have to counter out of that, and that's a ton of 2ks out of hand. So at that point, this game's probably over, but he has the 5-cost Rush Ace, as he is finally at 2 life. He's probably been waiting to play that all game. So he'll go 7k to lead. I know we have to counter out of this one, or else we're probably going to lose. So we're going to go ahead and give him a 2 and a 1. He's going to attach 1 to lead, instantly do leader effect, putting Ace back to life, and buffing Luffy to 8. Now spending 2 Dawn for an Ace here, bringing Ace right back out. That is probably like the best combo in this deck. He'll go another 7k at lead, making these turns really rough for me, as I have to counter out of that one as well. 2 Dawn to work with, so he can make this unblockable, which he does choose to do. He's going to go, that is 10k lead, we are forced to take. And he'll follow it up with another, I think that is 8k lead, which we will choose to block with Queen, and give him a 2 and a 1. Reason I did that being, honestly, my only win con here is to go for game. Even as unlikely as it is, there's no way I live next turn, as I'm at 0 life and he has a 5-cost Luffy on board. So his leader is buffed to 7. Unfortunately, the one turn we have to go for game, his leader is buffed, which kind of sucks. But, you know, we're going to do what we can. Go for it. We do not have the most menacing board. We only have 2 6Ks, which only got 2 cards out of his hand, and he countered out of both. So at this point, I'm pretty positive I can't win. So I kind of have to, you know, switch gears and go for board, which isn't the best play. So we'll go 7k. That's either a lead or it's an ace. We'll draw 2 and trash 1. It is at lead, which he's going to take. I maybe should have gone for ace there, but realistically, if I'm not getting rid of Luffy, this game's over anyway. So we'll go ahead and go 7k again. He will counter out, and we'll just go ahead and go 8k at ace. He has the take, but at this point in time, there is no way we're getting out of this. And unfortunately, even with the Khalifa out of our leader effect and getting 2 cards back, there's just no way to win. We did rest Queen. We could have left Queen up, but as I was saying before, with the unblockable Luffy, there was just no point, unfortunately. So he'll go ahead and attach the lead here. Honestly, this game's just over. There's not really a lot to think about. I think I have 5 cards in hand, you can just go all on Luffy and win. So there is the 11k swing, all the cards out of our hand, and the rest on Sabo. That is going to be the game. Really rough one there. Never played this matchup before, and I think it shows that it is not the best. And getting into our last match here, we're going to be going against RP Law. So a bit more of a deck I'm familiar with, thankfully. We are 0-2 into this point, so definitely not a great showing from the deck. I think we did a lot of cool things in the first 2 matches, but just pretty, I think, unwinnable matchups as far as I could tell. But we're going to get the Kokoro on 1 here, grabbing the 3-cost stage, which is always the best option to grab on 1 if we don't have it already. On 2, he's going to go ahead and pass to us. We'll go ahead and activate stage here and do leader effect on 1, playing out a tile stone. So pretty good first 2 turns here. This is like kind of the ideal first 2 turns you want to start with, as we're going to pass to him on 4 Dawn. Looks like he is probably going to play, he's going to play out 3 Dawn for a Chopper, actually, which is a new card in EB that's actually really good in RP Law. Put those 3 Dawn immediately back and play a Shachi Penguin, getting 2 back rested. And then he's actually going to go ahead and just swing 6k, or only 5k with lead. We were going to take it anyway regardless, so we're going to take that. Going down to 4. Unfortunately, if you can't see, we have 3 Reijus in hand. Probably the absolute worst matchup you could ever draw Reiju in, as she is like never online. So that makes his hand like hyper awkward. We also have 9-cost Kaido and a Poly that doesn't work right now. So just nothing to do this turn. Like, I could play a Reiju out and draw nothing, I guess. That would be a play. Play I don't agree with, so we're just going to go ahead and play out a Tile Stone after we swing 6k and pass to him. So we'll be on 5 Dawn now. Perfect turn to play out your 5-cost Kid if you have one. Looks like he does have a couple in hand here. However, he would not be able to bottom deck anything if he did, but he is actually going to play it out now. And even at this point, if he didn't Dawn minus, I think I'm at too much Dawn to ever play these Reijus, so I'm going to just start countering out with them. We'll give him the 1k there, and then probably another one if he swings with lead. There is the swing with lead. Thinking about it here, but we just honestly want to find a card that's worth playing, so we're going to actually choose to take. And now on 7 Dawn, I think we're definitely going to play Polly this turn at the very least. Polly is really good in this matchup as there is a lot of 4-cost cards to get rid of. So thinking out how to do our Dawn here, we're going to go ahead and go 9k at the Shachi and Penguin. He's going to go ahead and take that. We will choose to do Leader Effect, putting 1 Dawn back and playing Polly, resting 2, KOing the Chopper, and getting 1 Dawn back active here. So really solid for us as we go another 6k at lead. Obviously, he can do a block 1k. I don't even think he has any 2ks in hand right now from what I can see. So he is going to do that, do a block into a 1k. And then we'll go ahead and go 4 for the 4-cost Khalifa, which is really good if it doesn't get removed. The 4k stat line is like probably one of Law's least favorite to deal with, as you have to like way overcompensate, bringing it down by 3k down to 1. Which, you know, you only need to bring it down by 1k, but they don't run any cards that bring down by 1k, so definitely an annoying card to get rid of, but we'll see which one he chooses to get rid of. He's actually going to raise max onto my Tile Stone here, choosing to probably not want its on KO effect to go off, even though we are going to 10 Dawn next turn, I think. But from there, probably going to play out something and then choose to use Leader Effect. So that is going to be another 5 Dawn for another kid. So he actually gets 2 Dawn back if he chooses to Dawn minus here, which he does. Bottom decking the Tile Stone and playing out a Kid and Killer. Kid and Killer effect is actually not online yet. So if we can counter out of this Law swing, we do want to prevent Kid and Killer from buffing himself, but we actually can't, as we have not seen any 2Ks at all this game. Double Kaido in hand, double Reiju. We have been seeing the worst cards we can probably see into a Ragnarok. If there were other cards you want to not draw in this deck, or in this matchup, these are the ones. Look at my hand. And on this turn, we finally draw into a 5-cost Khalifa. We actually don't have 2 4-cost and trash to get off of it, but we do have the 4-cost Khalifa on board, thankfully, to trash another card. So we're going to go ahead and play the 9-cost Kaido. KOing Kid, and probably just going to start swinging into this Kid and Killer. We'll go 1 on Khalifa, putting 1 back, drawing 2, and trashing that Ragnarok as there was pretty much no use in this matchup. There was an argument to instead trash another 4-cost so I can bring it back out with Khalifa, but I don't think it made much of a difference. So we'll go 6k lead. He'll take. We'll go another 6k lead. Looks like he still doesn't have a 2k in hand, so he's probably going to choose the block 1k again if I was him, which he does. And then from there, we'll go 10k into Kid and take it out. And from here, thinking about whether using Leader Effect or not, we're actually going to choose not to, as we don't really have a good target right now. I think we only had Khalifa, which doesn't do much, and it Dawn minuses us just a little more than we'd like. After we played, 9-cost Kaido and sent back 5, you don't really want to send back much more. So fortunately clearing his whole board that last turn, which is really good for us. We do still have 1 life, so he cannot just go all on lead and swing big. He could if he wanted to, and then maybe play out like a Kid and Killer follow-up, which, wouldn't be bad, but I think it's better to develop a few things here, which he is going to do. Going to play out the 3-cost Chopper, so we can not go for game next turn, into the 4-cost Yonji, which is an interesting card that I don't see a whole lot of Laws play. But I don't think it's a bad option at all. So we'll go ahead and go 6 at lead. We'll go ahead and give him a 2k counter. Does he use a Leader Effect here? He actually chooses not to. Probably just wanting to keep as many cards in hand as he can, as we're probably going for game this next turn here. Swinging 5 with Khalifa and using its effect. We'll trash the other 9-cost Kaido. Not really worth keeping in hand at this point in time. So he's actually going to take that 5, which is very interesting. Showing me that he does not have a lot of counter in hand, so I would say we can go for game this turn, but he does have 2 blockers on board, so I am not going to. We're just going to play it safe and play it slow. And definitely a turn to think about here, as there are a few options to play out right now. We could play the Kokoro, see what we get. Checking trash to see if we can get cards back with Khalifa. But we're going to choose to go 7k lead. He will just go ahead and block there. Going to go another one on Tilestone. We're going to go another 7k lead. He'll either have to take or block. He's going to choose the block. Then we'll go another 10k lead, and he will have to take. Not a lot of counter in hand once again for him, so we're going to go ahead and play the Kokoro for 1. Looking at the top 5 and grabbing another poly to hand. And putting 1 Don back for leader effect, we're going to go ahead and play the Khalifa out, putting Kokoro to trash. And Don -1 for the Khalifa effect, grabbing 2 4 costs and adding them back to hand. So we're in a very safe spot right now. Even if he had double Kid and Killer, I'm pretty sure we still live it. We have just a little too much counter right now. He does actually have all 10 Don, which is pretty rare for Law. That's one benefit of him not using leader effect last turn, is he has a lot of Don to swing with now. And looks like he does have double Kid and Killer in hand, so he'll probably go for it. He's actually going to choose to play Chopper into a Gordon. Bottom decking that, and going to most likely get rid of this Tilestone off of leader effect. And there it is, 3 Don back, bottom decking the Tilestone, playing out the Kid and Killer. And is going to spend 4 more for another Kid and Killer. Honestly, if I were him, I probably would have attached all that Don to lead. Maybe like 3 Don on lead, swing 8, or 4 Don on, swing 9. So he'll go 7. We'll take, just because we know we have the counter, we'll take the other 7, and then the other 7 we will also counter out of as well. So if he played that turn a little differently, I'm not sure if he had game or not. I don't think he did. We have a lot of cards in hand. But we only have those 2 2K counters, so there is a world where he actually could have won that game. But at this point, yeah, I mean, no life. This is just going to be game all on poly, and that's going to be it. And that is going to be the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. This was definitely a bit of a longer one than usual. These games were a bit longer than the ones I'm used to. Just the fact that you don't have to attack with leader is definitely going to make these games go a bit slower. But I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, as you guys saw, only going 1 and 2. I do not think Iceburg is a bad deck by any means. I think it has its matchups. The ones we saw today, let's just say, were not it. I think we showed what the deck can do. The constant cycle, board flood, and draw from this deck is pretty incredible. It's definitely in the best spot it's ever been, and unfortunately, I think the best spot it'll ever be. As after EB, I think it just gets worse as other decks get better. But that is going to be the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you are looking at the poll right now, I think it is neck and neck next week for Ibonkov versus Green Purple Dofi. So both interesting decks that I think Wraith would be very interested to play. I'm going to be out next week, so he will be making the video next week. Anyways, guys, please do like, comment, subscribe if you do want to see more videos like this. But that's going to be it. I'm going to head out of here. You guys have a great day. Peace.